Right now, America is staring down the barrel of what could be the worst housing crisis since the Great Depression. It's not just a dip in the market. This is a full-blown freeze. Home sales have crashed to their lowest point in more than 10 years. Construction sites are abandoned mid-build, and entire generations, especially young people, are being priced out before they even get a chance to start. Let's put that into perspective. Imagine working hard, saving for years to finally buy your first home, only to find out the average age of a first-time buyer in America is now 56. That's not just a shift, it's a complete redefinition of the American dream. For millions of families, home ownership has gone from being a milestone to a mirage. And when you look at the numbers, the story becomes even more alarming. Sales of existing homes have dropped again. April marked the slowest pace since 2009. But here's what makes that jaw-dropping. Back in 2009, the U.S. population was around 306 million. Today, we're over 340 million. That means nearly 34 million more people. And yet, we're selling homes at the same sluggish rate as during the Great Recession. This isn't just a slowdown, it's a systemic failure of what home ownership used to mean in America. To make matters worse, this collapse isn't just about supply and demand. It's about affordability being squeezed from both sides. Mortgage rates have skyrocketed from record lows to near unaffordable highs. What used to be a manageable $1,500 a month mortgage is now pushing $2,500 or more for the exact same house. That kind of leap is enough to crush most household budgets. But here's the kicker. Even with sales in the gutter, prices aren't dropping. You'd expect a flood of unsold homes to drive prices down, right? But nope, we're living in a housing paradox where high rates and high prices are locking people out, and yet prices continue to hover stubbornly at the top. It defies logic, it defies gravity, and it's just the beginning. More homes are popping up on the market. In fact, new listings just hit their highest level since July 2022, a 16.7% jump year over year. You'd think more supply would mean lower prices, right? But nope, prices are still sky high, like gravity doesn't apply to real estate anymore. And while the market seems stuck in this bizarre holding pattern, the people getting hit the hardest are young Americans. The average age of a homebuyer has shot up, from 49 last year to 56 today. That's the oldest ever recorded. Just 10 years ago, it was common for buyers to be in their early 40s. Now, entire generations are being locked out of the housing market before they even get a shot. Let that sink in. Buying a home used to be the first major step into adulthood, a sign of independence, a symbol of financial stability. Now, it's a luxury that many can't afford until they're nearing retirement. One veteran in the mortgage industry put it bluntly. In over 20 years, I've never seen it this hard for millennials to buy a home. And it's not just about owning a house, it's about what that house represents. Security, family, community. When people are priced out, everything starts to unravel. Behind the numbers are real people making heartbreaking decisions. A real estate agent in Portland shared how many of her clients are downsizing, not because they want to, but because they have to. During the pandemic, bigger homes were the dream. Space for kids, remote work, comfort. But now, that dream has flipped. People are afraid of layoffs, afraid of a shaky economy. Some are selling homes and moving into condos just to stay afloat. Even real estate investors are bailing. They're realizing that the carrying costs, mortgages, taxes, maintenance have become too heavy. The mood has changed. What used to be confidence and growth is now caution and retreat. And here's where things get really serious. The first cracks in the frozen housing market are starting to show. Zillow reports that home values have dropped in 27 states just this year alone. Big names like Florida, Colorado, California, and Washington are seeing major declines in just a single month. It could be the beginning of a market correction. But here's the chilling twist. If this correction snowballs, we could be headed for something even worse than 2008. Back then, falling prices triggered a full-blown financial crisis. Now, U.S. banks are sitting on trillions of dollars in mortgage loans. If home values tank, it's not just home buyers in trouble, it's the entire economy. If home values keep dropping, we might not just be facing a housing correction. We could be looking at a full-blown banking crisis. Imagine a domino effect, where millions of mortgage-backed loans suddenly lose value. That's a financial time bomb just waiting to explode. And it gets worse. Mass layoffs are sweeping across the country, adding even more pressure to an already shaky housing market. Walmart recently laid off around 1,500 corporate employees, not store clerks, but highly paid professionals. These are the exact people who used to keep the housing market afloat. When even they're getting pink slips, you know something big is breaking down. Now zoom out a little. A national survey just revealed something staggering. 70% of Americans say they're under extreme financial stress. And at the center of that stress? Housing. Whether you're trying to buy or just rent, prices are out of control. Let that sink in. 7 out of 10 people are financially maxed out. This isn't just about numbers. This is a mental health crisis, an economic meltdown, and a growing political powder keg all rolled into one. It's also dividing the country in a whole new way. If you were lucky enough to buy a home before prices exploded, say, 5 or more years ago, congratulations, you're in a protected class. Your mortgage is probably fixed, predictable, and affordable. But for everyone else, especially younger buyers, it's a completely different story. This has created what you could call economic segregation, not based on income, race, or education, but based on timing. If you miss the window, you're locked out of homeownership for who knows how long. And the cost of waiting? It could mean never owning a home at all. So where do we go from here? The Federal Reserve is stuck between two terrible choices. If they cut interest rates to make mortgages affordable again, they could unleash another wave of inflation that hits food, fuel, and everyday necessities. But if they keep rates high to fight inflation, they risk crashing the housing market entirely and taking the banking system down with it. There's no easy fix, no perfect middle path. Either prices come down hard or rates have to drop fast. But one thing is crystal clear. What's happening right now isn't sustainable. Right now, millions of Americans are finding themselves underwater on their mortgages. And not just financially, but emotionally too. The pressure is suffocating. And the Federal Reserve? They're standing at a crossroads, hoping the system doesn't collapse before they make a move. So what's coming next? Experts say we're headed into one of the toughest chapters in U.S. housing history. Over the next year or so, 3 possible scenarios could unfold, none of them ideal. First, the Fed could slash interest rates to spark more buying power. But that might reignite inflation and push the cost of everything else. Groceries, gas, everyday essentials, even higher. Second, home prices could start dropping fast, making homes more affordable. Sounds good, right? But it could also blow a hole in the banking system, as people find themselves owing more than their homes are worth, just like 2008. Third, and perhaps the most eerie, we might be stuck in a kind of real estate limbo. No buying, no selling, just a frozen market, dragging on for years while uncertainty eats away at confidence and opportunity. The truth is, we're already on borrowed time. This isn't just about housing, it's about the American dream itself. For generations, we were told that if you worked hard, saved money, and made smart choices, you could own a home and build a life. But that dream is slipping away from millions of young Americans who are doing everything right and still can't afford to buy. When solid jobs and steady incomes aren't enough to get you in the door of homeownership, that's not just frustrating, it's a warning sign. Something fundamental is broken. And the reason? We've treated homes like stock portfolios instead of basic human needs. For decades, housing policy has protected investors and existing homeowners while leaving everyone else to fight over scraps. Now, the system is cracking under the weight of its own contradictions. Young families are drowning in rent. First-time buyers are priced out. Even minor shocks to the economy could set off a chain reaction that no one is ready for. Homeownership isn't just a financial goal. It's been a cornerstone of stability, identity, and future building in America. And for too many people, that door has slammed shut. So here's the real question. Are we brave enough to fix this? Or will we keep ignoring it until the whole thing falls apart? We hope this helped you understand what's really happening behind the headlines. If it did, share this video with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you, because this affects all of us.